Goal for today's scout. I know from my cameras that I grabbed on one of the first scouts this year that there is a very nice 14-pointer running around. And then I got a buddy that hunts out here that had an encounter with a different 14-pointer. And they're running around in kind of the same area. One of the first scouts that I did this off-season was in one part of where they're running around at. So I'm going to try to find their sign today on this side. I was just standing out there, walked in through here into this thicket, not seeing much sign at all. It's pretty thick in here, so I can't see anything mature trying to live in this. Try to get into that opening there and see if there's any signs of them laying down. There, I got in here. It's all flattened down in here. Like there's clearly something in here making this. There's the old historic. Rather than walk the inside of that, I'm just gonna walk the edge and look for any sign going in. It's super thick, so if there is a spot the big ones are going in there to use, it's going to be a specific spot. I was just about to say, well, there's hunter sign. Boom! I just went right through, filled my boot. God dang it, that's cold. I gotta empty this boot out, my lord. Haven't seen any sign going into this thicket. You know, on the other side of this creek there's ag, and I figure they'd come from the ag through the creek into this thicket. This thicket's huge compared to like really any bedding area around here. I'm just not seeing any sign going in. However, I know once I get towards the back of this thicket, there's generally really nice buck sign, historic sign. And then when we did a drive this year during gun season, we drove this thicket, had a little buck run out, and then I just kept following the path that I was following and ended up in this crazy area with huge buck sign, huge turds everywhere. So I'm probably gonna make my way over to that, kind of break that down and see what I can do with it, see if it's an area I can set up on or not. And this way, following this trail in, I don't see any buck sign, but this trail's pretty beaten. It's way more open in here than it was when I first tried to get in here. I'm just gonna poke my head in here. Yeah, I can see a buck walking through this stuff easily. Look at this, absolutely. Just walked through that section, popped out here, no buck sign. Seeing all these white trees here. I can already see a historic. Let's get up here. Those are the historics I seen. And as I was coming through here, I seen these little marks, a little tick mark here. There's a dash mark right here. That's from a buck ducking down, knocking his antler on that. Historic right here. There's a rub from this year. Here we go, right off this trail. Nothing crazy. You know, the meat of that is about over my knee. It'll be a good one this year if he made it. Just came walking down this trail. I did see that there was a trail that went this way. Nice historic. Keeps getting opened up. Doesn't look like, I don't know, it's hard to tell if it was touched this year or not, but just in general, it's within this network of trails that these rubs are on. So They like spending time in here. Another historic right here. There's just beds everywhere. There's beds back there. Flat spot. There's another flat spot behind it. So that has to be the main trail that I came in on. I veered off this way and started checking beds and whatnot. Eventually kicked me back to right here. Man, there are just spots everywhere for them to lay. Right here. It's thick in here. Still on the main trail right here. Ooh. Well, that hurt. Let's see where this takes me. Oh yeah, there's a rub right there. There we go. That's a good one. Let's go. Absolutely. Absolutely. The meat of that is at my thigh. I've got oaks right here. Right off of this main trail. There's this nice opening right here. But these rubs are made, you know, end of September. So it's going to be super thick in here. Just got to see if there's a spot that is open enough that I could possibly get a shot through and I could get a good tree. Just worked my way through all that. Not much sign at all. A couple historics, but it brought me out to this opening. Kind of comes to a point before it opens up into the field back here. There's a decent rub once I get through Thorn City here. Jesus. Right at my thigh. So where that big buck sign, ooh, there's another rub in there. I am gonna go this way because I believe this is where I found all that big buck sign. This is a beaten trail coming out of that field into this thicket. That's the rub that I've seen. Small one. There's a historic right there. Yep, I knew it. That's a good one. There's a good buck, especially if he made it through the season. There is a good buck in here during the early season. That's the one that I've seen. This is right behind it. Historic, historic. This is all bent over. That's definitely from them rubbing it through the years. Historic. There's a light rubbing on that. There's a historic back here. Okay. Doesn't look like from this season, but not in general. Historic. Alright, I'm gonna mill around in here. If this is their exit going towards like the oaks and the ag, they can like swing into the oaks and then wrap to the ag. I gotta break this down. Came walking down that trail that came into here. I got to this point where it's just a wall of thick in front of me. To my left there's a trail a buck could definitely get through. But before I go that way, this guy's all bent over all weird because of the historic on it. Small rub in there, so I'm gonna go this way and see what I find. Just kidding, because those are the oaks I walked by. So I walked through that and then I went that way and then I wrapped around back this way. So I'm on the back end, but there is buck sign coming off of that field through this point into here. There's a historic on that right there. I'm gonna go this way. Here's a rub right up here. It's really the only way that these bucks can go. It is a thick wall. So this is it. This is the only trail they got. I guess they could duck off of this trail into here, possibly in here, but I'm just gonna go where the sign tells me to. It's kind of a weird spot for a rub. It's pretty thick in here. Oh, here's his bed right here. That's why that rub's there. He just squeezes his way into here and he lays right here. Little turds, nothing big. That rub was pretty small. Got a trail that goes this way. This is a neat little spot. I could possibly set up in that. set up in that little guy over there. I don't know, I'm gonna keep scouting though. I wonder if this lays down like this early in the season enough for me to catch a buck coming out of this thicket, possibly using the trail that comes out of here. I'm gonna go this way though. This is the trail going into the thicket. Oh boy. Yeah, I filmed this. I filmed that on my Snapchat when we were doing the deer drive. So I remember that huge buck turd that was coming out of this thicket that I did the drive through. And this looks like a buck area. It's thick, but it's easy for them to work through. You know, they're not gonna get the antlers tangled on much. It's just flat back here too. Just came walking this way. I'm not finding much at all. And here's a bed. It's like a little cave. It's cool. No rubs. Yeah, look at, there's a bed right here. There's a bed right there against that deadfall. Deer poo. Once again, I'm just in a spot where there's beds everywhere. That is a thick wall behind me. There's no way a buck's getting through that. Nothing mature in it. This has got to be where they're laying at. It's back here. I mean, look, this is a big bed right here. Perfect tucked against this deadfall. Even though I'm not seeing any rubs or anything. Right here, really anywhere against all this thick stuff. That all leads out into that field. Well, could be that they're just not laying any sign down in their actual bedding area, just on their way out near the edges of it. I'm gonna work my way, follow the main trail out of here. It's gonna lead me to that field. Alright, so if I wanted to set up on this opening, originally I said I could set up in that little tree, but I feel like it's just too close. The beds are literally just right on the back side of where you see this deadfall at. So I feel like that's just gonna be too close. So I'm gonna have to try to find something else. There's a trail that comes out of here that goes this way, you can see it. It snakes out into the field that way. Or there's a trail here that kind of keeps them in somewhat of cover, and then it's not too much of a distance between the next big thicket. I'm gonna go this way and see what I can find. Just walked down that, decided to come back because I wasn't seeing anything. It's a historic up here that comes off of one of those trails. Alright, I've been spending time breaking this down. I walked out into this field all the way down there where you can see that bigger tree at. And then I've been walking this edge, trying to decide where my best setup would be. There's a main trail here. It's one of the first ones that we found that went out there. And then I just tucked back in there. And then I found the trail that led out that way. There are a bunch of historics out here. A bunch of them. There's fresh ones on this trail. I'm sure if I go down this way, I'll find another trail that skirts out here as well. However, all the buck sign is down here. This tree's pretty gnarly. If I do try to get a stand in it, I can really only get about a stick up before I run out of shooting because of all the branches that are in my way. And then there's this guy. Good amount of cover up here. They've got a weird lean to them, but I know I can get a stand into it. I just think the best option I would have is first stick, second stick, third stick. Stand up here facing this way with these two trunks behind me, and I'll just be sitting this way. I'd love to get in the middle of all of it, but I wouldn't be able to use my camera arm if he did come on this trail right here. So there's that main trail that's just behind this bigger tree. There's the trail that comes out here, and then there's obviously the transition trail with all of these historic rubs around. So I'm guessing this would also be a really good spot to sit and wait for a buck to try to win the back edge of this bedding area. It's either that one or it's that one. It's either that one or it's this one. That one I'd be able to shoot that trail on the other side. Possibly, there's so many branches in the way. This one, I'd be able to shoot the transition. I'd be able to shoot that trail. If anything does come off of this trail and hooks this way, I'll get it. Otherwise, I'd have to wait for it to get to the back end of there, and we're looking at like almost a 35-yard shot. This is all the big mature sign I'm talking about. It's always just rubbed up. Historics have always obviously been here for forever. This is from this year. It's at my hip. They can't help themselves. Every single tree in here is rubbed. There's another good one. It's about below my hip, above my thigh, in between my thigh and hip. Historics. I have scouted a ton right here. I'm heading this way. Just been following this edge. Eventually I caught this trail, so I followed it in. There's a good hip high rub right here. Historic right next to it. But if I look back, follow this trail, there's more rubs back here. There's a rub over there. Historic, historic, historic. These are good. About knee high. That's at my hip. Early season. All of this is early season. Just came around that corner following this trail. Good rub. It's like mid-October. Still got a little, black dots in it, but definitely later into the season. Still following this trail. There was a couple historics on the way through. There's a historic here. That field that I was in is probably only like 30-40 yards beyond this thicket, and on the other side there's like an opening of a swamp, so it kind of pinches them down right here, which is why there's probably all this historic sign. It's thick in here, so they're gonna feel like they're safe when they're working through it. All right, so I was just walking through this thick right here. There was that trail leading through it, kind of pinches them down. Decided to pop back out in the field just because I wanted to check if there was any beaten down trails that came into that main trail off of this field. Followed the edge, found a number of historics. Got to right here, peeked in here. Look at this. That's above my waist, man. That's insane. Historic right next to it. Good rub behind it. Historic behind that one. And it's right on this point. This all comes down to a point. Like he's keeping track of this transition. He could be bedded right here. I can't see him. I mean, that's got to be a big deer that's making a rub that tall. So I can't see him working his way through this. He's either laying here and working his way out of here. Just about to get into the area where I expect to find the sign I'm looking for from these 2 14 pointers and anything else that wants to run around out here. Here we go. So I just came walking down this trail. Meets up with this trail. Look at that early season rub. Check it out. Oh yeah, real early. That's right at my thigh. Stopping on the backside, so it's just coming this way from the swamp. Trail brought me through here into this opening. Looks like there's a bed right here. That was an early season rub, so if there is something bedded right here, it's going to be when they've got leaf covered, nice and cool, right next to the creek. Nice trail right here. Gonna work around in here and see if I can't find any good sign. Just came walking out of that thicket. Walked the edge down there, didn't see anything. Came this way, there's no rub, but he left me some sign. He's crossing this swamp to get back into here somewhere. I want to get in here. Ooh. This might be, this might not be a thing. I have no idea. Just came walking in over there, went that way, there was nothing. Came back this way. Buck turd. Not seeing any rubs though, or any big old buck sign. Well, there's definitely water that surrounds it. Yeah, there's the creek surrounds it. Oh, right there, dude. What's that? That's a rub. Laying down right here, dude. Flat spot, little cave. That's at my hip. Everything else back here is pretty thick. I don't see rubs on anything. He snapped this off too. Oh yeah, there's a rub right here too. Okay. I'm just continuing to work my way down this area that's just surrounded by water. Not finding anything too crazy. There's a bed right here. Historic. It seems to be what I'm finding. It's just historic sign. Trying to work this down just a little bit farther and then head back to where I started. Right into a bed. Look at that. Early season bed. He's surrounded by water right here, so he is going to go this way towards the ag. Here we go. Rub here. Might get touched up a little bit. Yep. That's about my knee. Just going that way. And then what? Pretty good opening right here. I can see him going through. Here's this opening. There's a rub. Same time frame as that bed. There's another rub farther back, so he's coming in here. And he left me a line. Look at this rub. Another rub. And then there's a rub behind this one. Right there. Yeah, there you go. So that's the rub. Some bones back here. And a couple more rubs right here. Historic here. I'm still following his trail. Here's his rub. Rub. I see a rub up here. And he is walking through the thickest to get to this ag. There's a historic right here. There's a rub right here. So I just came walking through there, hit that opening. I wasn't finding anything for rubs, like they just died off. Followed this trail. Wow, that's a good one, man. Got a debate on, I still want to get to that main spot that I've been talking about. So I got to choose if I'm just going to start heading back that way or continue to just follow this transition. But actually it looks like I see some hunter sign up here. It's a balloon. Well, that's it. That's all I needed. Scout's over. Found the spot. I might work my way up another 50 yards or so, because there's a couple of areas that kind of bow out like a peninsula that I want to check out. Deer tracks crossing here, coming from the ag. Good trail, good track. Oh yeah, there's a rub in here. You can see where he's laying. There's a divot in the ground right there. We just peeked into there and seen that rub. I walked around the outside of it. The trail going in this way. Historic. There's a rub there from this season. That's for sure being used. Every time I think I'm going to turn around, I keep seeing trails that keep on leading down this way. I'm just too curious. I've seen this trail. It comes in through here, right into this low spot next to this big old tree. There's an old historic on it, like something was bedding here, getting up, going towards the ag. I only got a little bit left of this little area to scout, and then I'm just gonna haul ass back to where I found that original rub that brought me back into here. Just came walking through here, and I was just like, oh yeah, ribcage, dude, that's rough. Let's go, dude. That's 2 for 2, 2 scouts in a row. Come on. Back-to-back deadheads. I guess it was a good thing I listened to my gut. Just working my way back to that log that I crossed, but I'm taking a different way back. I've seen it's kind of like flattened out up there and leaves are all moved away. Looked over, early season. Not a big one, but you can just see something's milling around in here. Those are the only rubs I can see right now. But yeah, oh no, right there's a rub. So something's just laying right here on this flat. It's like a little peninsula. You can see it's surrounded by water. Oh no, there's a rub there. Okay, this is interesting. Nothing mature. But if he continues to use this, oh, this looks like it might be a little rub. Look at that, historic. Yeah, that's rubbed up. Ooh, that's at my hip. That's decent. But I looked over here. Well, that's a good one. Now it looks like it's a high rub, but there's like a mound right here. So they're probably standing up on this mound and rubbing, which puts that right about my knee. Early season. Historic behind that. There's a historic right there. Nice. Be pretty tough to hunt that. That's only like 25 yards from me. And if they're coming this way, there's trees you can set up in, but it's going to be thick. I can't see a shot happening. When I walked through here, I walked the edge of the transition. That balloon is down there. I cut through the swamp on the way back this time. That's rubbed. There was a really good rub on that. There's a historic there. There's an early season rub here. Early season rub there. Twig snapped off. He's just laying in here. Nice thick cover. Probably laying right there as well where it's flat. Tree I crossed is over there. But I just worked into this because it's another like, you know, peninsula looking thing. I look down. That is definitely a scrape. I'm kicking back this way. Look in front of me here. Pretty good rub right here. Not tall. It's good. Right at my knee. This is the transition. I was following the swamp out there. This is right at the corner where the transition turns. All these rubs are in here. There's a rub there. Those two are rubbed up. Right to the eyeball. Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, this is that trail that comes off the point there. At the corner anyway. Looks like it just goes right to the water. I'm not seeing any deer tracks. I don't know. There's one. I guess it's not that deep. I could probably just cross right there. Cross my log. I'm getting close to the point where I started, but I follow the trail on the inside of this creek. This early season rub crossing right here. But it also looks like I got a bed right here. Even inside of it, look at that. Oh yeah, for sure. Alright, this is where the scout really starts. I imagine these big 14s are living back here in the swamp. So I was just standing out there, walked through here, and I seen these taller trees, especially this big one here. So I knew it's got to be high ground out of the swamp. Wrap around this back side. Tell there's a bed right here. It's an old historic right back there. All this back here. Some rubs right here. So here's another bed. Rubs right inside of it. Smaller one. So right now I'm just following this trail that came off of that bedding area. Really to go off of in these big open swamps like this, other than just following these trails. So it takes you to something that you want to see. Follow this trail down. Some light rubbing here. It's old. Snapped it off right there. It's old, but it might be taking me somewhere. It's taking me into a pretty thick. Oh, yes! Let's go. This is what we're looking for. Come on. That is early season above my hip. Okay, I got an oak flat right here. I'm gonna go check that out. I'm gonna mark this, kind of mill around in this area and see if there's a pattern, if there's an area where all these trails connect, is what I'm trying to say. I've seen these rubs right here. There's a beat down trail right here that leads to that. Let's check these out. Yeah, this is a tall rub. That's above my waist. Both of them. This looks like it was rubbed, yeah, right here too, coming right off of this trail. Alright. This is rubbed up here. Look at this trail. Early season. These are rubbed. Early season. This is going to this thicket, it looks like, maybe. We'll follow it, but I still got to turn back around and hit that flat. And really, it's just bringing me out into the open. We'll follow it. There's a rub there. Smaller one. Alright, well, this trail seems to lead like right to a water crossing. It's a really tiny rub right there. Yeah, they're just stepping down here and they're crossing right there. There's ag behind everything that you see here. It's kind of like you can kind of see the transition back there. It's nothing but ag. So they're walking through that, crossing here. They get to this point and they can go this way, and this is the trail that I followed. I really want to go this way, but I want to go back and follow the same trail that I followed, because that leads me to that really big rub. There's that flat that I wanted to check out, and I just want to see if there's any scrapes or anything on that, and it possibly might just lead me to wherever this one's going. Okay, follow the trail that I took back to this point. That rub and everything was a little bit farther up here, but I stopped because I see there's this little high ground right here, and you can see that that's been nipped off. That's for sure been nipped off. That's been nipped off. There's a light rub right here. Unless it's historic. Yeah, it's a historic rub. I'm gonna work my way up onto this and see what we got. Just walked up that high ground. There's just really nothing. It does raise up over here a little bit, but I noticed that there's an old historic right here. Not seeing anything too crazy. Alright, I haven't fully made it back to that rub yet. I'm checking out this big flat that that trail took me to. I'm not seeing anything. Yeah, I'm gonna work this a little bit. I'm not gonna go too much farther. I'm gonna turn around, and the flat that I wanted to look at is over here, I'm pretty sure. You gotta expect that there's gonna be people back here. This place gets hit pretty hard with duck hunters, possibly duck hunters. I don't see any like deer hunting sign, like tree stands or trees that are marked up from sticks or anything. On a pretty good trail. Oh, it's a rub up here. Comes off this trail. It's a historic. It's a nice one. If you're in there, you can stay in there. This looks like it might be rubbed up here. Yeah. That's alright, that's like right below my hip. There's really no definitive trail anymore, but I'm gonna work this way. This historics were up there somewhere. Just came walking down this way. Here we go. It's a good one. Later into the season. Actually, it looks like it's pretty much throughout the whole season. It's got that orange to it. It's got the black dots in it from early season. Oh, here's the next one right now. Alright. Okay. Just gotta keep following this then, if that's where the rubs are heading. I have no idea what that is. Hunter sign for sure. Line right there. There's a historic on that. Here's one. Looking in the trees for any hunting sign. It's pretty open right here. I can't see something mature feeling too comfortable working through this. Pick back up on the trail. Little rub. More hunting sign. Or hunter sign. Human sign. There's a rub. There's a rub back there. Oh, here's a rub. Just a light one. Gotta find that bigger sign that I was finding, so I know I'm heading in the right direction. Look at that guy. Historic on that one. This looks like it got touched. Oh no, that's just a historic. Oh, what's that? More hunting sign. This trail that these rubs are on. People are getting back here, for sure. Quick break. I've got some gnarly historics right over my shoulder here. It's gonna take a second, get a bite to eat, look at my map, see where I'm at, see how much time I got left. I feel like we're going in the right direction. I feel like eventually I'm gonna find the sign that I'm looking for. I'm a little bummed at all the hunter sign that I'm finding, or trash that I'm finding, but I haven't seen like anybody's setup. I haven't seen a tree with a tree stand in it, a tree with marks in it from somebody. All right, well, turns out my GoPro's dead. God, that stick messed me up, man. But I'm not gonna scout too much longer. GoPro being dead and whatnot, I'm sure my phone's gonna eventually tell me I don't have enough storage for video. Here's those historics that I was talking about. That's nice. So looking at the map, maybe like another 100 yards farther, I have actually hunted before. So I'm gonna work this way because that's the way I haven't been yet. What the heck is that? That's what that is. Right next to a scrape. Yeah, they snapped this end off. They snapped all these ends off. Scrape here. I don't see any real big buck sign. Well, it's got a historic on it. So that chair was right there, the scrape was right there. I just walked around the back end. Historic, it's all rubbed up behind it. It's a decent deer that did that. Just came from over there, walked through here. There's an old historic on this right here. It just follows this trail here. Looks like they could be crossing right here. Yep. How could you want to spend your time shooting at birds? There's big old bucks running around. I'm not seeing anything getting me excited. Seemed like the better sign was all back more in that really swampy stuff now that I'm walking around in the hardwoods. Everything's just kind of died off. There's trails everywhere. You can see the tracks. But nothing to show me where I should be at. Seems like a good spot for something to bed, all this deadfall. Okay. He's all ripped up. It almost looks like he's laying right here. Good rub there. Good rub there. Historic. These are all rubbed up. There's a historic on that one. Historics on these. Okay. Okay. That's a good one. That's tore up. Good one here. Early season. Heading into this blowdown. Yeah, there's a rub on that too. Okay. All right. ran out of real estate. I'm gonna check this point down here with all this deadfall and start heading back. Not seeing anything good. I know that this area in general gets pounded by duck hunters, so yep. Early season. Absolutely. I can see him bedding back here. Good amount of cover until all these leaves fall off. Well, I know why all the mature sign died off. Not only is there a bunch of trash back here, but I can see a tree stand. It's illegal. Figure it out. I walked to that point. I followed the edge of the other side of this, where the creek is. Behind me is just swamp. So now that I'm heading back, I'm following the swamp edge. Now that I'm getting away from that stand, I'm starting to see some sign. It's super early season. I'm on this faint trail. There's a nice historic, another historic, a historic behind it, another one. All right, so this is where we want to travel if we come through here, huh? Oh yeah, there's a historic out there, another one out there. Historic, historic, historic. So I'm just following this water edge here. All those historics were a little bit farther back there, kind of died off. But it looks like there's like this peninsula right here. That's what it seems like anyway. I'm gonna poke back in here. You can kind of see a faint trail. There's no rubs or anything going into it. Oh, yes, here we go. Early season. That's decent. That's coming from this. Let's see if they're laying any sign down back here. All right, so there was like two ends of this little peninsula. Checked out one end, it's just too thick. You can tell nothing's really getting in there. Came onto this end. There's no buck sign, there's no rubs or anything in here. However, you can tell there's beds in here. One right there, one right there. There's one against that right there. Although there's no sign necessarily where the beds are, there's a rub on the trail that comes into this bedding. So I'm gonna bank that there's a buck bed in here, work my way back out and see what the best possible setup on it is. Okay, so that's the trail that goes into that peninsula that has like two ends on it. The end that had all the beds was right here, kind of where you can see through these trees. And both of the trails come out to right here. That was an early season rub, so I'm gonna have a good amount of cover in here, but I wanna be as close as I can because if he hugs the right side, I wanna be able to shoot over there as well as shoot anything over here. Looking at the map, this is probably my best spot for it right here. So I need to find a tree around here. I like this one. Get right up to about right there. Shoot anything over here that's walking out of there. Shoot anything on this edge out here that's walking. All right, just got the hint from the old lady. It's time to head back to the truck. So I'm gonna try to scout my way back to the truck quickly. I'll probably end up spending another day in here. I'm gonna try to make my way back to that first original crazy rub I found. Scout that flat right next to it. And I'll pretty much call it a day. Oh, that's deep. All right, so I followed that water edge. Seen a trail that hooked in this way. Started following it. It comes out to a point right here, and then it's just surrounded by water. There's a rub right here. Might be from last season, maybe the season before, but it's coming from this way. See anything else? It could also just be walking this trail right across. Just milling around out there. I caught this trail. Follow this back. You know, if I'm a buck and I want to stay off of the hardwoods, the higher ground, where most of the hunting pressure is going to be, this is how I'm going to work my way through this swamp. Just through this nasty stuff. The trails stayed pretty consistent so far. It's got some light rubbing on it right here. Yeah, small guy. That trail goes right to this point. Crossing the water. Yep, shooting right through there. All right. Walking from that water crossing, following the edge, and I was like, man, that looks like a little bed right here. There's a rub there. These guys are rubbed. He's laying right here. Got water at his back. Water over here. The only thing he's got to worry about is right here. Nice. All right. Here's another trail that just meets up with the one that I came off of. Hop on this. It's rubbed. That's going in here. Let's follow this trail out. Here's that rub again. Right off the point of this high ground. I'm just gonna walk into here, mill around for a second, and then head out. All right, so I just came walking from that rub. It's straight ahead of me here. Walked in. That's a good rub right here as well. The same line. Oh man, if you ask me, this is just way too open for something mature to walk through here. That's a historic, so they've been hitting this. And I can definitely see them using this in the early season. It's real open right now. The early season, this is gonna be thick in cover. Everything's gonna be about like the waist to maybe your lower chest high. Again, it's another real mature one. And this is getting away from all that pressure where the stand was, where the trash was. This is kind of like in the middle of where you could access from the river or access from the road. This is like right in the middle of those two. So it makes you wonder if people just, if it's too much of a trek coming from either way, you know? Yeah, there's a good trail here. This trail pinches them down from trying to cross this. Huh. All right, just brought me right back into that field that I started in. We'll make our way back to the truck. I'm gonna work my way through the middle of this nasty though. See if I can't find any bucks that are trying to bed right next to the road. There we go. That's November. Someone's in here looking for does. There's a good rub. What is he doing? Getting way back in there. I don't have much farther till I'm at my truck, but always that chance there's a big one that's living by the road. Here we go. Look at this bed, dude. Yes! That's good. That's real good. He's just laying in here. Oh, man. Gotta figure out how he gets out of here now. These are really good rubs. Holy moly. He's for sure just bedding in here. I gotta figure out how he's getting in and out. Definitely this way. This way. This is ours. Coming in and out. That will for sure do it. Not a bad day. Not a bad day at all.